Hi everyone. So today we'll see how we can use Tensorfuse and open-webui to build ChatGPT-like interfaces for open source models. And the tech stack that we're gonna use today is we will use Tensorfuse for hosting the models on our AWS account, and we will use open-webui for running the UI locally on our Mac. So the first step is to deploy a TensorCube cluster. It's pretty straightforward process. You can follow our getting started guide. All you need to do is configure your AWS credentials using the AWS CLI and then run a simple command, which is tensorcube configure. What this will do is it will create a Kubernetes cluster specifically optimized for running generative AI workloads on your AWS account. This takes around 20 minutes and it's a one-time setup. I have already done it, and you can see on my AWS console, this is the cluster that tensorcube creates and it is in the running state. The next step is that we will deploy some open source model using our guides. So right now I will be using our Deepseek guide to deploy a bunch of models. I'm going to deploy the Deepseek 8B and the 7B. So I'm going to head over to my code editor, and you see this is the Docker file that you will get from our guides. We will be using a VLLM base image, and we will configure all the parameters like the context length and the port, etc. And then this is the configuration file that Tensorfuse requires. We will define the type of GPU, which is 8NG, and the number of GPUs along with our token. And all we need to do is tensorcube deploy, and we will attach the tensorcube deploy -- config file, and we will attach the config YAML deployment YAML file with the command. Once you run this, what it will do is it will run some checks and then prepare our file for deployments. So this will take around 10 minutes depending upon the type of model and the size of model you are using. But I have already pre-deployed it, and you can access this by running the command tensorcube deployment list. What this will do is this will generate a so you can see that I've already deployed a 7 billion parameter model. This is a Deepseek model, and you will get a deployment URL. Now in order for you to use this URL with open-webui, all you need to do is use the open-webui official Docker image and replace your Tensorfuse URL in place of this command. And then once you run it, it will start a Docker container, which is already running in our case. So this is a Docker container that is running, and you can simply click on this URL and it will open up on your local host. So you can see this is the interface of open-webui, and in the model we already have our Qwen 7B model configured, which is running via Tensorfuse. So we can ask this now a bunch of different questions like generate me a Python script for a 3 blue 1 brown style video for Pythagoras theorem. Okay. Now once I hit enter, you will see that this will start generating the script for us. Now the good thing with this is once you have set up the cluster, you can deploy any number of models on the same cluster. So let's say right now we only have one model available. If you want to add more models, you just go to admin panel and you go to settings, you go to connections, and then so you see this is the if I see, this is the API key that is right now we have configured, and this is our Tensorfuse URL key. You can add new connection. So this is again the 7 billion parameter model that we have deployed. You can click on add the Tensorfuse URL here and add the API key, and this will configure another model for you to use. So yeah, that's it. This is how you can use Tensorfuse with open-webui to run ChatGPT-like interface for open source model. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.